somebody needed a particular strain and they needed feminized seeds of that strain, we could grow it,
all year round.
By the millions,
you know.
In a year, tens of millions of seeds. So it's a nice facility. It takes a lot of maintenance. I've been doing maintenance all week.
Hey guys, it's Mandi with Global Hemp Association. I wanted to say thank you so much for joining. I'm excited about the opportunity to build a relationship and connect this supply chain. I mean, after all, that's why we started the association. Our association was built on the foundation of connecting supply chain, building relationships, and helping you grow your business. Anyone from farmers, manufacturers, and distributors, people that are passionate about the supply chain, and those creating products selling into biofuels, plastics, textiles, construction, and building materials.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay? Okay, good. Well, we're live, and hello everybody. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining. I haven't been on for a day or two through our StreamYard link, and so I feel like I miss it, and I'm excited to be back and be talking with Zach and Brittani today. So if you are on, please feel free, or please drop us a note. Let us know where you're coming in from. Feel free to ask any questions throughout this. And then also, last but not least, please subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We're getting really close to being able to open up some opportunities through YouTube for our association, and we just need a few more subscribers. So please go in and hit subscribe. But without further ado, thank you very much, both of you, for joining. I'm excited to have you. We got to meet a little bit at NOCO, but I'm excited to really dive into more about what you guys do and what drives your passion and how you really got to where you're at. And so, Brittani and Zach, hello, welcome. You want to start with an intro? Tell me a little bit about how you got here.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. And first, Mandi, thank you for having us. We're excited to be here and to be a part of this community. And as you said, my name is Brittani and this is Zach. We're with Panhandle Hemp Farms. We are a family-owned and operated grow out here in the Oklahoma Panhandle, and we grow feminized CBD seeds. So yeah, we're excited to share what we have today.
Yep.
Very good. Well, Jeremy and Hector, hello, both of you. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining. They're both awesome connections, awesome people that you guys should connect with. Hector's got a great network of farmers as well. So what got you guys into the hemp industry, right? What got you to the spot where you are? You've got a significant number of greenhouses and some substantial size or volume of seeds that you're distributing. So talk to me a little bit about what got you to this spot.
Yeah, so it started back in 2019.
With an idea, really.
Yeah, 2019,
okay.
And we had the opportunity to contract to grow with a company, and we just
we decided to go for it.
And started growing for them, and it's been good. And now we're on our own, selling our own seeds. So we specifically have Feminized Cherry Blossom right now. That's the specific strain we were growing. So. Yeah, like I said, we're family owned and operated. So mom, dad, siblings, we're all involved. Mm-hmm. It's a good time. So we're all here in the same community and we love what we do.
Yeah.
So what's the journey been, for a contract grow? And what were you doing before now? Before somebody came up and said, hey, we want you to grow for hemp seed.
Well,
we're self-employed.
Yeah,
we have some hog nurseries that,
okay.
We own and operate as well.
Okay.
And, that's a lot of daily work. So taking on something like this, we knew it was going to be challenging. There'd be some real early mornings, some long days, some late nights to accomplish it. So we decided to go for it. And here we are.
Yep. I was, I am a surgical nurse, but I stopped and have been part of Panhandle Hemp. And it's been a whole another learning, career change, but it's been awesome.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me where you guys started as far as size of production and where you're at. Did you go in with the full 5? You said you have 5 greenhouses, right?
Yeah. We planted all 5. It was a total of 3,000 plants.
Okay.
And, before we had to build the facility to start, and that took, I guess, about 4 months and 12-hour days
get
it built.
Didn't
take any days off really. And we built it all ourselves and went straight to planting right when it was ready. So, we were still building our light deprivation system while we had plants in the ground. So we hit the ground running, and we really just went for it.
Yeah.
Figured it out along the way.
And our facilities, I mean, when we harvest, I mean, we get millions of seeds. You know, right now we currently have over 3 million ready for sale. But yeah, the 5 greenhouses, we can produce, you know, massive amounts of feminized seed.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, so tell me about, how do people contact you? For those that might be listening right now, how do they contact you if they're interested in feminized seeds? And then I want to talk about what does it mean, and you know, what have you guys done to show germination and quality of seeds and so forth? But yeah.
So first, we do have a website. It's panhandlehempfarms.com, or our email, panhandlehempfarms@gmail.com. And then our phone number is also on the website or on our Facebook page or Instagram. So Panhandle Hemp Farms on there. So you can connect with us on social media. And as far as our feminization, if you want to.
Yeah, we called them our pollinators, you know, and we converted them into males. They're female plants that we stressed into males and pollinated with that pollen. And the result is feminized seeds. So, you know, no male plants. So it's feminized seeds for CBD flower.
And it was important for us. We got a phylos test done to prove that feminization. And, you know, we see a lot of growers and businesses, you know, they claim that their seeds are feminized, but there's really no proof to back that up. So it was very important for us to have that test. So we feel like that's an advantage that we have.
Okay, so tell me what that test does. What does that mean? What's that?
Yeah, it tests the seed to make sure it has the
female plant
feminization characteristics, and
do they just do random sampling? Like how?
Yeah, we send off seed, and they sample so many of them. Yeah. So
we sent them a pound, and they took 100 seeds, grew them, and then checked if they're male or female, and they were all female. So it's pretty exciting getting those results.
Yeah. There's almost 40,000 seeds in a pound. And so they choose, and all of ours came back feminized. We wouldn't claim we're 100% feminized, but, you know, we do have a really good high feminization rate. So
yeah. Okay. So seeing where the market's been, where it's at now, what does your future look like? What are you looking at for the next year? You know, what are you looking to do with all of your, you know, facilities?
We're really trying to reach out to growers in our area and across the country and internationally. You know, we're working on our first international sale right now. It's a little more involved, you know, making sure you're compliant with the import and export permits, you know, but learning the sales side of it is the next step.
Yep. So
we recently got our germination test redone just to see where we're at, and it's still, you know, over 90%.
Yeah.
You know, so we're pretty happy about it.
So things are being stored properly. But yeah, we would right now. So we have a living soil. So we're conditioning our soil. We would love to contract grow. So we're just kind of exploring our options right now. So
when you say contract grow, talk to me about the ideal scenario there. You know, what does that look like?
If somebody needed a particular strain and they needed feminized seeds of that strain, we could grow it, you know,
all year round.
By the millions,
you know,
in a year, you know, tens of millions of seeds. So it's a nice facility. It takes a lot of maintenance. I've been doing maintenance all week, but it's worth it. You know, it's a nice facility. It's worth taking care of. So we're proud of what we built.
So we, you know, since we can grow all year round, there's no downtime. You know, if we don't want any downtime, we don't have to have any. So it's constant work. But like we said, you know, we love what we do. We believe in this plant and the benefits that it has for our bodies and for the other uses, you know, that you see it being used for other products and things right now. So we're here for the long run. We're excited to be a part of this journey and where it's going globally. So
are you going to do anything with your hogs? Are you going to feed your hogs hemp?
Right.
No, they have plenty of food.
Yeah, probably.
Hey, I've heard so many great things about it as animals.
The cattle get some of it. We have some cattle too, so
okay,
they eat some of the leaves that we defoliate.
Awesome. Hector is wondering, do you grow CBG genetics?
We haven't yet. Just the CBD. So, but yeah, we would be open to growing CBG.
We're somewhat familiar with the benefits of CBG and the potential. I guess they're just now really researching it. It's all been CBD talk, and these other cannabinoids, they do have a lot of benefits, and that's something we'd be open to looking at growing some CBG as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you talk a little bit about your pricing for seeds? Is it based on a scale? Is it how do you price out seeds typically?
It's listed on our website, and with bulk orders, we can negotiate a price.
Yeah.
If somebody wanted a high volume, so.
What's high volume? What does that mean?
20,000 plus 100,000.
Yep.
Plus.
Yep. So we would love to find bulk buyers, but ideally, but yeah, we are open to negotiation with our pricing. We will offer discounted rates, and definitely negotiable.
Awesome. Okay, so contract grow. Talk to me about when you guys did this. Is this the first time you've done this type of farming? Is for hemp and cannabis?
Yeah, this is the first time. We just went for it.
We
understood the basics.
Of course, sure.
That was about it. There's a lot to learn, and there's a lot more. It's a lot more involved than you think.
Yeah.
Especially doing feminized seeds. Because we had to start the pollinators I was talking about. We had to start those. You have to flower those weeks ahead of time to get the timing right. To make sure that you have the pollen at the right time. The females are ready to receive the pollen. So there's a lot to learn, and we had to learn a lot about bugs as well.
What have been some of those challenges? Yeah, I want to
the bugs, some of them we'd never seen before. And then when you put the plants in the ground, they just show up, 2 days. The second night after we planted, we had little seedlings, and they were getting attacked by army worms. Out here, we call them army worms. They're these big old grubs, and they'll bite your plant stem and go on to the next one. So we had 3 or 4 plants in a row. We had to figure out what's going on. But we called our entomologist, and we got some nematodes, and haven't seen any army worms since.
So we don't use pesticides or herbicides. We went with beneficial bugs.
Yeah.
So
we buy ladybugs and different types of mites and wasps to combat the bad bugs, because those bad bugs can take over and ruin a crop, real fast. But our beneficials did really well for us. So it was exciting to see how it all worked out.
Yeah. Cherry Blossom, it's a very hardy and resilient strain. We loved growing it. It was resistant, like we said, to pests, to PM, lockout, and the extreme temperature changes. So in the summer, our greenhouses can get up to 120 plus degrees. And this strain it does not affect these plants at all. So that's one thing. Very hardy and resilient. We love growing this strain. So its terpene profile is floral, well-rounded with exotic undertones of berries. So it's really good for, stress relief and pain relief. So we would choose to grow this strain for sure again. I mean, we like it a lot. So
awesome. What's market demand look like typically for it? Like, where has it been, obviously? And I know you guys haven't been on this side as much, but what can you speak about where market demand's going for?
Yeah, I mean, a year ago, it was mostly international for our company. So we're seeing different companies selling it, Oklahoma, Texas, we're seeing it out here, but yeah, it's still pretty new to us on the selling end. So yeah.
But it looks like things are going to change in like Texas, from what we're in contact with some of the growers over there, and the Hemp Growers Association in Texas. And it seems like things are about to change, and there's going to be a lot of people needing seeds. So we're hopeful for that.
Well, and there's a lot of people, shout out to Latin America and, because Ecuador and Costa Rica and Argentina and
Yes.
Puerto Rico, they're all coming on board with indoor grows for CBD and cannabis. And so, yeah, they would be great contacts for you. So remind me and I'll connect you to a few great people that are down there.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Awesome. So talk to me about, I'm going to go back to some of the challenges, because this is where like you guys have learned the most and really shows our highlights where you've overcome. Is what would you say some of the, with the biggest challenges, what are some of those that you've overcome or that you learned that maybe people that are getting into the industry or that are looking to start growing themselves may not be aware of or may not find readily available in books and education?
Yeah. I guess probably something that we learned right away was proper pruning on the plant. It'll grow and it wants to grow, but if you prune it, if you top it at a certain time, it'll bush out instead of growing as tall, and defoliating the leaves at the right time, because it'll just be an enormous bush. If you take off those fan leaves, the energy will go towards the flower. And trimming up a lot underneath the plant, pruning the bottom branches that are kind of just growing out horizontally, they tend to pull the plant over. It'll be trying to reach for the sunlight and it'll pull the whole plant with it. If you get rid of a lot of those branches, the plant will support itself better and that energy will go upwards.
And so that's where we saw, large dense buds with our plants.
Mm-hmm.
And
there's pictures on the website of it.
Okay.
I think for sure
they look pruned properly.
Being consistent, not to change things up quickly right away. Maybe if you don't see what you're wanting to see. I mean, consistency.
Yeah, our watering was very consistent.
Is very important.
Mm-hmm.
So
the plants respond very well to consistency.
So that's where outdoor becomes. Okay, what's your opinion, I guess, on this indoor and outdoor crop and indoor and outdoor grow with CBD?
Well, our greenhouses, we're still subject to the elements outside. If it's cloud cover for several days in a row and rainy, then we're just going to be humid. There's really nothing you can do. So it's pretty similar to being outdoors. I guess the wind, we're not, it's not getting blasted by the wind.
Yeah.
More controlled.
Mm-hmm.
We do have heaters. So if it does get, too cold, we have the heaters on. But as far as the heat, we have ventilation, but like I said,
it only does so much.
It'll get up to 120 degrees
heat
in there.
Yeah.
So try working, in the greenhouse when it's 120 degrees. So
no, was that your job, Brittani?
Yes, I am expert pruner. Yes, so definitely. Awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm curious about future. How do people talk to me about a typical size or a typical order that you're seing?
Just several hundred seeds at a time. You sell several of those.
Working on a bulk order right now. Mm-hmm. For our first international on our own sale. So we're starting to see the bulk orders come in.
Yeah, a small grow to a big industrial grow, we can provide those seeds.
We need to get a shout out for those that are distributing seeds. We've got a couple of awesome people on our team and advisory board and one of our research committees. And they kind of help distribute seeds. They become this go-to resource in the industry. And so I'll have to connect you to them as well, because they'll be connected to another great tools. And shout out to anybody else that has questions. Don't hesitate to drop them in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. I'm really excited about having these guys on board and your experience. I'd like to dive in more too. I'm super naive about the horticulture grows, right? Like I really, over the last 2 years, have spent a lot of time learning about the row crop and the, big field and scale for fiber, where we really are looking for tall crops. We don't prune, we don't, So can you give, for people that are listening, what are some of those key skills or key things to watch for? Like you said, pruning. What else? What is what does water schedule look like? What makes the crop more finicky? If I'm buying your seed, what are some things that I should be doing, or some SOPs I should be paying attention to?
Well, I think consistency from the beginning, the plants responded. But there's another local grow that we were in contact with, and they had a completely different watering schedule than we did. But our plants ended up, they did just as well. It just really depends on what you start them with, what they're used to. You don't want to change in the middle. If you're watering every other day, stick with that. If it's working. If you're watering 3 times a day, if that's working, stick with that. But I wouldn't change it right in the middle. But I would recommend starting slow. You can oversaturate things for sure, but the plant is just so resilient. It's just it wants to grow.
It wants to live. It wants to grow. So
that's what gives it so many beneficial properties. It's resilience.
Do you do consulting? So say some of these other countries that are really looking to open up.
We've done some, not like official consulting, but if people need help getting started, for sure. I've been on the phone with, for hours with certain growers that are just new at it. Their first grow ever, just doing some in their backyard and didn't know even where to start. So we've helped some people along the way for sure.
And as far as like germination, we've always when we started our seeds, we've always got a good germination rate just because
plus.
we know how to do it. And you did a lot of consulting with how we germinated to get, 95 plus up every time. Mm-hmm. So that was important, and when to transplant. And
they're going to need nutrients, 6 or 7 days after they come out, after they sprout out. And you got to be ready. You don't want to wait till they turn yellow and then say, whoops, I should have gave them some nitrogen, So some of those little key pointers, we help people along the way. So
would you say, somebody said yesterday that hemp is very nitrogen, like draws a lot of nitrogen, needs a lot of nitrogen. Would you agree?
I think so.
Definitely.
Yes.
In vegetative
stage. For sure in the beginning.
So in the beginning.
Once you start flowering, it won't need as much.
Does it? Yeah. More
phosphorus.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
And then simple things like the pH of the water, that's something we constantly were checking, to make sure, hemp, it prefers slightly more acidic water than just, your standard neutral water. So we were adding acid in to bring the pH down, and like I said, just consistent with it, and the plants responded very well. So.
And we would probably encourage water tests being done. I mean, that was one of the first things we did. We have well water out on our farm, so we wanted to make sure what exactly was in it.
You want to know what you're starting with, Okay,
well, I look at this as a bigger opportunity for Latin America. And hi, Tim. Tim says hello. Organic nutrition and microbes. Agreed.
Nice. Yes.
Tim's a rock star, also another great farmer, great resource. Somebody you guys should connect with for sure. But in, like I said, Latin America, go back to Costa Rica. I've recently been there a couple of times as they just legalized and trying to figure out what genetics will grow. And with their light, short days, short number of hours of light, I look at indoor growing as being more of an option for them, especially at scale.
Yeah, we supplemented lighting. They weren't necessarily grow lights, but they're enough light to keep them in a vegetative cycle. So then we cut those supplemental lights off when we went to flower.
How many hours?
Basic lights can help keep you, in that vegetative state.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a whole room full of grow lights. Just some lights on, and consistency with that as well, for sure. That's probably most important.
And would you say, because, there's a big discussion always about ESG and, the sustainability of indoor growing, right? Where would you say that plays a role? Or do you think it does? I mean, do you think it's really even something?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think we're pretty, I don't know.
We're mostly experienced with the greenhouse in our setup, so.
Yeah. I'm just curious because it's, like I said, it's something that always comes up. And the reason I bring it up, right, is countries like Costa Rica or Ecuador are very focused on the sustainability aspect, right, and their access to power. And so that's why I was curious. I like that it's not a, full light setup. It's a greenhouse with supplemental lights. That's
Right.
significantly different than a full indoor grow.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Plays a big.
Not a lot of electricity being used.
And we had LEDs, so it's minimal. I think there's just 6 LED lights in there.
Just enough to keep them awake.
Okay, so talk to me about, help put into perspective for me the volume of seed you have available. What are we looking at as far as like, how does it ship? What are we looking at for a number of acres or facilities? Yeah, what do we plan?
We ship it really quick. When we get an order, we ship it right away. But we have 3.2 million right now in our seed bank. So
yep, that's ready to go.
They're already weighed out. If people want bulk orders, we have them already with the seed counter, weighed out in 20,000 seed increments. But like we've mentioned, we can sell just a few hundred if somebody's trying to just start out on a small scale.
For the number of seeds. It's so funny because, right, industrial hemp, my lawnmower guy is outside. If you can hear him, that's what that is. It's perfect timing today. It's always funny because for industrial applications, it's sold by the pound, right?
Yes.
25,000.
And feminization isn't something those people are concerned with.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. A very different,
yes.
Very different crop, right? Tim says greenhouse way better than warehouse. CEA for ESG. Totally agree. Yes. Yep. Trying to think what else. Somebody said the other day when we were talking about the number of acres that people are saying that they're going to grow for industrial fiber and how many seeds and or pounds of seeds, right, would be required and what that would look like to ship. It was like semi-loads, right? And so then I go back to how do we start to scale up some of that production, right? For you guys, what does storage look like for, seed production? How, where and how, and what is that process? When you say they're stored right, for somebody that doesn't know what they're looking for,
it's in a refrigerator, and we monitor the temperature and humidity inside, and they're inside breathable bags, little mesh bags inside of 5-gallon buckets. So I think it's 6 5-gallon buckets total, something like that, 5 or 6 5-gallon buckets. So I think you can get 500,000 seeds in a bucket easily.
See, that's what I needed to know. I need to know, like, what does volume look like for a facility like this? It's just
just fridges full. So
yeah.
And like we said, we just did in February our germination rate just to make sure things were being stored properly, and they were stable, and all of our purity, noxious, germination, everything came back great still. So that was important to us to get that retested. So
awesome. So I love the consistency, right, from start to finish on the plants, the business, the structure. So Brittani, I have a question. Coming from nursing and surgery, right, into this industry, what's your journey been like?
Yeah, at first it was hard, figuring out the ins and outs of this, but I guess I don't know, surgery, you're doing the same things. It's probably takes a very type A person. And this is the same thing. I mean, it's you're doing the same things every day, the consistency that we talked about. So I've enjoyed it. I love it. How's
it working with your husband?
It's great.
Good team, we have our strengths, and and we're able to balance each other out. And so,
it's challenging with 2 little kids, for us to both be out there at the grow. Somebody's got to be watching the kids, so it's always a challenge. Who's going to be babysitting and who's in charge today?
And, this isn't your typical, 9 to 5, we were harvesting at 4 a.m. because that was the coolest time of the day, and that's when we had the most help.
When we could get everybody together. So we'd harvest for 3 hours every morning, then go about our days. It took us 4 weeks?
Yeah, it took us 4 weeks. We hand harvested. So the last time we hand harvested, yeah. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to think.
That's part of it, that's what we signed up for.
Late at night to make sure lights are coming on. I just
drive in the middle of the night, make sure those LED lights came on. You don't want to accidentally flower a couple weeks in. Things won't turn out too great for you.
So we've got to experience it all. But
I would say those, like the harvesting piece, is something that was so under discussed or explored when so many farmers got into this, or said, hey, and especially when they took it to scale. It's one thing to have a few plants. It's another to have 5 greenhouses worth or fields worth, right? The time and manpower the labor hours are pretty.
Yeah. Exactly. We had to build our own drying racks, at a separate location in a big building, and we had to make our own seed cleaner. None of these things were available to us, and we just had to make most of it, and do what it took.
In the beginning. Yeah. So we, the whole family was a part of it, and we got it harvested in a month.
Yeah,
what did your family say when you were like, hey, by the way, guys, we're going to go into hemp?
Nobody really understood at first.
Nobody understood. Right. Lots of research. But
they understood once they saw what was going on.
Yeah.
How big the plants were, and how passionate we were about it.
The benefits
when they started to understand.
And how this could impact, the world. And we want to make a difference. And just like, being a nurse, helping, changing lives, like this is also, what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And that's what we want to be a part of. At the end of the day, we want to make a difference and help at least one person. So,
yeah.
Okay. So what was your aha moment, Zach, getting into this, right? Like Brittani being in medicine, it makes a lot of sense. But for you, where were you like, this is it, and this is what we're going to do? Especially when you're spending 14-hour days out there.
Well, we were just excited, with the opportunity. And just after getting into it and the challenges and overcoming it and seeing your successes, you just really, fall in love with the whole process. It's because by the time, it took us 4 months to build it, then, almost 4 months to grow it. So, you're from when you started to when you see how well you did.
A lot of love, a lot of labor, love,
it's
sweat,
fun
and tears.
To, be successful, when it took that much to get there,
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead.
I was just going to say just one thing, like, this year and a half has been hard on all of us, and growing has been tough, but we've stuck with it, and I think that's the most important thing is you just have to stick with it, get through this, and you'll come out on top. So I think that's very important.
It's been interesting when you saw at NOCO, right? There were still those companies that are standing, right? There's still groups, and you're starting to see more collaboration and more people working together. Not everybody has to do every single thing, right? And really, the industry is too big. We've got to be able to, link up arms and collaborate on stuff. And so I'm impressed with your success in your area, right? And over, people are leaning to, where success has been proven over the last couple of years and what we're seeing. And so your ability to show your success really is, I think, reassuring to Oklahoma farmers that are looking to get into the CBD industry or CBD markets, right?
Oh,
yeah. Yep. I agree with that.
The plant wants to grow.
We've stuck with it, and here we're still standing, we're still here, and things are moving and changing. So, and we're here to be a part of it.
It's awesome. Well, I'm excited to make introductions. I'm also excited because you're in the southern, lower part of our country, and you've got seeds and genetics that are growing. I am, of course, interested in what the cannabinoid market does, but Oklahoma is like you said earlier, the wild, wild west, right? How would you say like outreach is? What do you anticipate? And I guess how connected or informed are you on the policy side in Oklahoma with legalization of marijuana, recreational marijuana, and or type 1, type 2, and type 3 cannabis? Where do you see that opening up opportunities for you guys as contract growers and seed breeders?
Yeah, I mean that could definitely be something down the road. We do know that they're trying to get the metric system in place. We've heard it's been just crazy. There hasn't been a system in place to really track what's going on. So I think that's been very hard for growers and selling to dispensaries. So I think we would want it to be a little more stable if that was ever an option, because it seems like it's just kind of up and down all over the place.
Meaning for medical and or recreational.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What about, do you think that will affect the seed market for CBD as that continues to grow or legalize, open up?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I hope not.
I still think that there will be a boutique. Like, I still think the CBD market is.
I think so too.
Like craft wine or craft beer, right?
Exactly. And feminized, specialty. So.
Yeah. So I do think opportunity. I was just curious. Somebody asked me the other day what I thought it would do as they legalize federally, what it would do to the CBD market. And so, I was curious, where you anticipate that going, what you see, might happen. Yeah. Okay. So again, I'm going to make another commercial. Please go and subscribe. I see there's quite a few listeners on. Please go subscribe on our YouTube channel. Also on LinkedIn, there's a little bell that will give you a reminder for when we come back live again next time. We're live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay, most Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, because yesterday I was not live. I wanted to give a real quick shout out to Matt Haddad with Trilogene Seeds. Yesterday, he also was on and did a great discussion. Global Hemp Association is working with great people like Zach and Brittani to really bring more education to our farmers and growers with, viable resources and vetted connections. And so don't hesitate to reach out if you guys have any questions about anything on the farm side. Also, if you guys are interested, Zach and Brittani, both of you, if you're interested in getting involved in our farm committee, we're really starting to put together a strong group of farmers to really focus on what is that content that's needed and then getting information out as a resource. And so I'd love to have you guys on if you ever want to join. Is there any, do you have anything you want to say, Zach? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah. Are there any, talk to me about companies or people that are really doing it right in the industry? People that that, maybe we should be paying attention to.
Do you specifically know?
I don't know anybody specifically. Like we said, the company we started with is no longer in business. So we're doing our own outreach and trying to make our own sales now. So, and going to NOCO and different events helps a lot.
How was NOCO? What was the coolest thing you saw, or the best, best and worst thing you saw? Best thing you saw.
Well, we're glad we met you there.
Well, thanks.
It's really cool to see on the industrial side the innovations in the equipment that's available now that wasn't, a few years back. So it's pretty cool to see just how versatile the plant is,
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Were you surprised, like this year going to NOCO, were you surprised at how far the innovation has come, or even that there was that type of innovation from hemp?
Well, I went to NOCO last year as well, and I for sure was surprised last year, but I kind of had an idea going into it this year where things were at. But it's pretty incredible how versatile the plant is and how much it has to offer. So that's why we're passionate about the seeds.
We've got to have good seed. It all comes down to what we're putting in the soil. Garbage in. Somebody I interviewed the other day said it very well. Rubbish in is rubbish out. And I was like, exactly what we've got to be aware of, right? Mm-hmm. Can you talk to me about, good seeds? Like what should somebody that who am not educated, for example, we're doing fiber variety trials in 10 different states. And shout out to Melissa Baldwin and our research team that put together an incredible protocol and contracted with a bunch of different certified crop consultants. And what she did a video the other day of the different types of seeds that we received. And some were small, some were big, some were dirty, some were clean, some were green, some were brown, right? And I wouldn't know what to look for necessarily. What are some things that somebody who isn't aware of a good genetics, right, or a good seed producer, what should we be looking for?
Well, I for us, our seeds are brown that, we grew to full maturity. We made sure they were stable, brown, fairly good big size seeds. I think that's something uniform to look for.
There's pictures on the website.
And get the cannabinoid profile, obviously the THC content, all good things to look at. And then your terpene profile, what exactly, you're wanting with your flower. Mm-hmm. So I would definitely look at those things, and the yield of the plant, that's important too.
To get good seeds, you have to have the timing right. You want to pollinate early on. You don't want to pollinate later on during flowering. You're not going to get seeds that are mature. So we got the timing right. We pollinated early, right? Basically, when they were accepting pollen, we had pollen in the rooms, and then like she said, we grew them to full maturity. If we were harvesting for smokable flower, we would have harvested earlier, but we let it go a couple extra weeks to make sure the seeds were fully developed. So the plants were looking a little rough, but we were growing 4 seeds. So that was, what had to happen.
Yeah, I will say, if you're looking at your seed that you just bought and they're white or green, they're not fully matured seed. So you want to make sure they're uniform, brown.
Bob is from Oklahoma. Bob is the gentleman I was telling you about that we'll have to connect you to.
Hi, Bob.
Awesome. That's awesome. Hi, Bob. I'm glad to see you on. It's good to see you. Small world that we were just talking about him. So that's great. Well, and that's something I didn't know, right? I understood that there were different seeds of different size, and that's really different in our industry when we're looking at buying in volume, right? If 50 pounds may mean 50,000 seeds or 30,000 seeds compared to 25,000 seeds, just because of size. But what I was not aware of is like if they're not mature or too young and how it affects its germination rate. And so I think that the word stabilized is, more and more powerful, even over certified, right? Because stabilized is it's a process.
Definitely. Yep. And purity too. I mean, those are part of the testing you can get done. Our seed is pure. It's over 99.8% pure. Hardly any inert matter, no coating material. I mean, they're clean, no noxious weed. Right. So that was important to us. So,
well, and important, I hope, to the people that are buying them, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
That really shows, the quality, and more important. That's where we're headed. Okay. So any other tips that either of you have? Brittany, what's your perspective? We kind of got some from Zach on, pests. We talked a little bit about pests. What other, key things are you seeing, especially in Oklahoma, as potential problems that can be mitigated?
Yeah. I don't know, but bugs were at first a learning curve, and be ready on top of that, because that can make or break you.
So there's an infestation.
And like I said, and thankfully, cherry blossom was very resistant. So that's one. I feel like cherry blossom is definitely an easy strain to grow for somebody starting out, because it's resistant to, PM, which that's powdery mildew. That is huge for your bud. You have to destroy it, so, or lockout issues. So just like what he said, our beneficial bugs were, I think, one of our keys to the success that we have in growing. So, and choosing not to spray our plants. I mean, we want to be very clean and pure. So.
That's awesome. Okay, so remind me again of your beneficial bugs that you invited in or you brought in. And
we started with nematodes to get rid of the armyworms and the grubs that were causing problems in the beginning. We added some adalias, which are ladybugs. We buy them in a larva state, so they don't look like ladybugs yet. They're real tiny, look like little alligators, basically got 6 legs. You got to know what you're looking for. You'll just miss them. They're real tiny. We put a couple different types of mites, some Californicus and some Andersonis. And we put some lacewing wasps in. And really with all those, you're covering everything. You're not going to have any aphids or thrips, or some russet mites russet mites can destroy everything really quick. And it's hard to diagnose. And if you don't know what you're looking for, you might think you have nutrient lockout. So getting those Andersonis, especially those mites, can prevent russet mites from taking over. So it's I didn't expect to be learning so much about the bug side of it, but you have to,
if you choose to grow this route.
We didn't want to spray any heavy chemicals on the plants, so we chose to use the bugs, and it worked. It worked great. We did have aphids on 1 or 2 plants, and I called the entomologist, and he said, give it a couple days, and those Andersonis or the adalias, the ladybugs, they'll smell it and they'll take care of it. And sure enough, they showed up.
They were within a few days, cleaning it up.
We've got some good pictures of it. Within a few days, they had it cleaned up, and we didn't have any issues because those aphids can take over, and it's gross. It covers the entire plant, and then it'll spread. And I mean, we've heard of grows that the whole grow was covered in aphids.
I mean, they're in there pruning with hazmat suits, and I'm like, I can't imagine that. Our plants are so clean. We're in there. Just working away,
We're proud of how clean we kept the plants. So,
and then people want to smoke that. Like that stuff's good to know, right? If we're not paying attention, and really, like we've missold the plant that we don't need any pesticides, and it's mold resistant, and bug resistant, and water tolerant. And I think that it definitely has some tolerances, but it definitely has some other bugs that love it.
Exactly. So
that's great. Okay, well, anything else you guys want to add before we close up? Anything you want to tell me, where do people get in touch with you? For those that may
check out our website, panhandlehempfarms.com. And if someone's just looking for 100 seeds or some to start in their backyard, we can help them get started and give some key pointers, that'll help them along the way for sure.
Cool. Okay, well, I've got a whole list of people I'd love to connect with. And like I said, I'd love to invite you back and do a Q&A with a group where we can really dive into some of these questions. And then I've got a couple of other groups that are doing genetics and seeds. Maybe we do a Q&A panel that we can put out on our channel. But definitely get you connected. And like I said, Bob, if you're still on, it was good to see you. I'll definitely connect you guys so that we can get you set up in Oklahoma. And there's actually a couple of great groups in Oklahoma. Ironically, I was just there not very long ago. And for anybody else that's listening, please let us know if you're still on. We'd love to see you. I see there's still quite a few people up in the corner that are on through YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn. Hector, also great to see you again. Tim, please join us next week on Wednesday. And Brittany and Zach, you guys will definitely have to log in on Tuesday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. We do a monthly networking group where you log in and we break into small groups of 4 to 5 people. And it gives you an opportunity to talk to different people, build relationships, share what you're doing. Then we come back together and then break off again in another small group. So it's kind of like speed dating, but it's really well attended. And there's lots of people that log in, great group. So you guys will have to come and show up. But it is on our website for everybody else that's on as well. On our website, globalhempassociation.org. And again, please subscribe on our YouTube channel. We're really close. So go into YouTube right now and hit subscribe. And then it'll let you know when we go live again on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. Okay, well, besides that, Brittany and Zach, it was great to see you. And thank you again for all you do and all your support.
And
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
We appreciate you doing this and this platform, connecting and networking. So
absolutely. I'm excited. I'm excited to hear what you guys do for Easter for your little ones.
yes.
I can't wait. That's like my favorite part about the holidays is the little kids and the excitement.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mine are not. Mine are like, Mom,
A
I'll
lot
wake
of
up.
fun.
Oh, yeah, my kids sleep through the holiday. They stay up late. They celebrate the night
Right.
before.
The kids are up at 6 o'clock. So these young kids.
That's exact opposite. Well, everybody, thank you again very much for joining. I appreciate all the support. Go to globalhempassociation.org, join the association or support the association through donation for our seed trials, which, by the way, our seeds are in the ground. And so that's pretty exciting. Thanks to Melissa and her team. Other than that, we'll see you guys next week on Tuesday.
Awesome. Thank you.
See you later.